What's up, everybody? Welcome to Metal Remains Backstage. I'm Manuel from Madrid. We have our friend Carlos Cortez in New York, and joining us for this special interview is our guest, Melissa Bonney from Ad Infinitum.
Hi.
No, you won't hold my guide. Reveries of the night, guiding my way into devious.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Oh, we're great. Very happy to have the opportunity to talk to you after having listened to your upcoming album.
Well, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed.
We're going to talk about
yes,
it
absolutely.
in a moment. Yeah.
So first, we wanted to thank you for your time. As we know, you're in the middle of a tour with Camelot. I know you're busy every day, moving from one city to the next. But have you have any time, any free time to listen to some music? And if you have, what have you been listening to recently?
I've been listening to a lot of Camelot, Elaine, League of Distortion, and Mirath.
And live.
I wonder why they are all on tour with you. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. But beside
Awesome.
now, sometimes I listen to a little bit of music after the shows or during the morning. A bit of everything, actually. I don't think there was one thing that particularly... Oh, no, actually, that's wrong. I listen a lot to the latest Paramore album.
Okay. Yeah, it came out like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that band keeps coming often with people that we are interviewing. They say,
Yeah.
the Paramore album, the Paramore album. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it's something that we should check out, Carlos, and review for Metal Remains.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It keeps coming back. Yes.
And hey, I wanted to say shout out to Anna Brunner from League of Distortion, who is friend of the show, going with you from city to city.
Yes. I've seen her a few seconds ago, actually.
Say hi for her.
I will.
We have recently listening to your latest album, Chapter 3, Downfall. That's not even out yet by the time we're recording this interview. How would you describe this album from your own perspective?
I think it's very much an evolution of, like a continuation and evolution of Chapter 2, but with maybe a little bit more work on the orchestrations and production, some little extra sounds and extra ear candies.
Great.
Awesome.
I concur with that.
Do you have any favorite song?
Oh, I never know how to answer this question because
That's the tough question all the time.
Yeah.
yeah, I think I enjoy very much Upside Down at the moment because it's a song that we created from scratch when we were in we did a little songwriting camp, and that's one of the songs that we created from scratch there and that we played during our European tour, and we had a fantastic response from the audience, so that it has a special place in my heart, this one.
I have a fun story to tell about Upside Down. Well, two fun stories, actually. I was able to listen to it live before the interview we did in Madrid, and I tried to make like an upside down video of it and turning it around, but it wasn't good at all. So I never used it. And the other thing is that while listening to the actual album, I was doing my workouts at the gym, and Upside Down came out. I was at the elliptic machine, and I was running real fast with a beat.
Be careful with that, especially on the treadmill.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of videos on YouTube with treadmill fails. You don't want to end up being one of them.
No, I'm not gonna record it. Anyway.
You will end up on TV somewhere. Now I'm gonna apologize ahead of time for what I'm about to try to do.
Don't do it, Carlos.
I'm gonna read it instead of singing.
No, don't do it.
My wife is always telling me, please don't sing. You sing terrible. Don't kill those songs. So I'm gonna read it instead. No, you won't have my cries. From ashes into the sky, I will arise. That's how the song From the Ashes goes. But let me say this, Melissa, you will have my cries whenever I have the opportunity to see you guys live, because I will sing my lungs out to that magnificent song. And the video is very intense. How did you manage to tame those flames?
Oh, that was so much fun because I had no idea that I would be doing this until I was doing this.
Wow.
We had like a script for the video that we received beforehand, but it was not written that I would actually have fire on my hands. So the video director tells me at some point, okay, so now we're going to try something. If you're okay with it, we're going to put this liquid on your hand and set it on fire for a few seconds. And I'm like,
that sounds crazy.
We're gonna put gasoline on your hand.
yeah, basically.
Don't worry, it's just
And
gasoline.
at first, I have to say, I'm not scared about many things in life, and I'm very up for trying new things. But there was 1 or 2 seconds where I was like, "Are you sure?" And we have technicians, we have specialists. They would not ask me to do it if it was not safe.
Yeah.
And
You go
so I
first.
did it.
You
At
should
first-
say.
Yeah,
you go
yeah. The technician showed me first, and I was like, okay, it looks easy enough. So first we tried with one finger, then
A little.
yeah, and then with all the fingers, but not the entire hand, and then at the very end with the entire hand for the scene that is like towards the middle of the video. And then a friend of mine told me, that usually you have specialized stunt people to do those things, and I was like, oh, but it was really fun to try.
And it looks real good. There's no way to trick the human eye other than with reality. And it was really funny reading the comments on the video. There was many concerned fans about why did you let her do that? If that's real flames, I'm gonna scream or I'm gonna hit someone.
No, yeah, I saw a few comments, and honestly, it didn't hurt. It was fine. It was safe. And I'm glad that I was asked to do this because I've never done something like this in my life, and I like to try some crazy things.
Yeah, and the video came out great, I will say.
Thank you.
And it's a great video.
Thank you so much.
Up until chapter 2, Legacy, your bandmates used to conceal their faces behind masks, but that changed after the video for Inferno. What is the meaning of this change?
Actually, it's just purely practical. When we played our first show, we thought, okay, we're going to have the mask, I mean, not me, but the guys for the first 3 songs and then remove them. Because we saw during the recorded live shows that it was not practical at all, to see what you're doing, but also for eye contact with the audience, which is something super important. So we started with the first show with 3 songs with masks and then no masks. And then we just decided, you know what, we want to change this because first of all, we saw when we recorded the music video for Animals that we liked a lot better the appearance and the expression on the face. And, there's a special connection with the face of the people. And then live, of course, when you can, like I said, have the expression, have the eye contact with the people, it just makes such a big difference that we decided, okay, that's the evolution. We had the big mask at the beginning, the smaller mask for the second album, and now we have no mask.
Awesome. It's not for every band.
And how it makes sense also with the concept of the band. At some point, it just felt right to have no mask.
Ad Infinitum is a young band on the rise at a very crazy speed. How does the band collect, process, and adapt to everything going on in such a rush?
We don't really take the time to think about it, I guess.
I think that's a good strategy.
We just go for it, actually. We had so much time during the pandemic to write music because we couldn't play any shows. So we wrote, we released the first album, we recorded an acoustic album, we wrote the second album, we wrote the third album. Finally, at the end of last year, we could go on our first ever tour. But it was just, we were so hungry for more challenges, more connection with the people. And during the pandemic, the only way to connect with the people was online. We did a lot online. We released a lot of videos, we released 2 live shows, and we tried to always stay present. And also, we felt that people, first of all, wanted to support bands and wanted to surround bands that couldn't go on tour, and also were hungry for music and entertainment. So that was our way in the beginning to just, go for it, record music, write music, and wait until we can finally play shows. Now we can play shows, but we still want to write more music.
Right. And I'm assuming that you're probably not the same band now that you were at the beginning. There is some growth and some experience that comes along with the time. Yeah,
definitely. We learned a lot in terms of songwriting, in terms of touring as well, and in terms of also what we want to achieve and how we want it, and how we function as a band. And that's very nice. Now we are in a place where we still have a lot to learn, but we have a team around us that we trust. We have a vision, and it feels really good.
Great. On top of the exciting turmoil going on with Ad Infinitum, you also collaborate with other acts such as your friends in Fire Swans, Camelot, that you are on tour right now with them. In the
Yes.
past, you have collaborated with Workings, just to name a few bands. And then on top of that, you have another band that is about to release an album. We're talking about The Dark Side of the Moon. The debut album, Metamorphosis, will be out on May 12th via Napalm Records. How do you balance your life in order to do all that?
I don't know. I don't really know how I do it. It's a fun journey, definitely. Actually, it was a little bit surprising when both albums were planned for, March and May, because I thought, wow, there's going to be a lot of releases, like single releases. But the work is not done at the same time. So for me, it was easier to plan recordings of Ad Infinitum. I think it was for me in May or April or May 22, and then recordings of The Dark Side later. The fact that the releases are pretty much at the same time, it's for me, it's just it's fine, because the big part of the work has been done last year. And with the other collaborations, I'm doing less, I would say, right now, because in the past I did I would say I had a lot more recordings also for friends and all that, and it was kind of, yeah, it was a bit much. It was stressful. Now it feels good, and I also have for example, you mentioned Feuerschwanz, which is a band that I always like to collaborate with. It's always like so much fun. It doesn't feel like work. It's just like every time they call me, I'm like, yes.
It looks like
But
a party.
It's what it is. Yes.
We love that band. We saw them in Wacken.
Yeah.
We see you in Wacken with them, and it was just
Yeah.
a blast.
And it was so
It's
late,
so
we
much
were so
fun.
tired, but somehow you injected us with so much more energy. Our followers are
We were doing
sick
the-
and tired of listening to that story, maybe, but we never get bored of saying that. It was truly something
Yeah.
way different.
No, it was definitely something, and for me, it was such an incredible experience to be on this Wacken main stage by night with all this fire and filmed, and I was like, oh my god! And it was actually it was funny because Slipknot was playing on the same stage a few minutes before.
We
and,
skipped them.
We went to have dinner.
We save our energy for
Really?
Fire Swans. Yeah.
and they have this huge production, so we didn't have time for a line check. It was like straight on stage, not knowing if I would hear myself or anything, playing with a band who is not my band, but so much fun. I almost burnt myself, by the way. Someone told me,
Oh, wow.
be careful with the pyro. It's like here and here, and I'm like, yeah, sure. Getting on stage, enjoying headbanging, and then suddenly I headbang, and I'm like, flame. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Remember James
Yeah, okay.
Hetfield?
Yep.
And also Sharon from Within Temptation, and yeah.
Yeah.
I have some of those examples in mind.
Well, luckily nothing happened.
I guess that's why now you know how to tame the flames.
Yeah.
Melissa, you already shared with us your favorite Bastic moment.
But it wasn't like
so
that.
Do you have?
I wanted to refresh your memory. We always like to ask this question at the end because it's backstage for us. It's the name of our show. I asked you for a crazy backstage moment while on that tour with Beyond the Black and Amaranth. But there weren't two crazy stories. So now, do you have like a favorite backstage moment overall?
Huh. Okay. The first story that comes to my mind is something that happened yesterday. I
So it's a brand new story.
It's a brand new story. We were playing in Cologne, and so there's the backstage, the kitchen, and you have to go through the kitchen to go to the shower. So after the show, I go shower, and I come back to the backstage to get ready to leave, to pack my stuff. And when I arrive backstage, I see this guy with a mullet and glasses, and it's actually Tommy with some extensions and some glasses, and you can actually find this video on Thomas Youngblood's Instagram. And I arrive and I'm like all serious, and
Who's that guy?
yeah, exactly. Who's that guy? And it was so funny because they were making a video with Alex where he was the the new security guy of Camelot. It's difficult to describe the impression when you arrive backstage and your mind is somewhere else, and you see this dude. You're like, wait, what?
Security.
Yeah, it's full of pranks.
Did you scream or something?
No, I started laughing my ass off because these guys are making lots of jokes and pranks, and it's a lot of fun.
Great. We are
Great.
glad that you're having
Awesome.
fun in that long tour. I hope you enjoy the rest of it. We are very jealous that you're not coming to either of our cities, but sometime in the future, maybe we get to do that. For me, again, for Carlos, it will be the first time. So thank you very much for your time. We hope to have you again in the future here.
Of course, with pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
If you like this interview, like it and share it with your friends. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and follow Melissa Bonney in all of her many projects. Make sure to buy Chapter 3 Downfall, which is coming out on March 31st to support Ad Infinitum. But until then, stay metal!
Yeah.